one of the things that people hear a lot in real estate, and it used to be a lot more common term, is curb appeal. So why don't you talk about curb appeal, what it is, and how you talk to your clients about getting ready with that curb appeal?
Yeah, and it's a really, really important. So we always, I think the first thing we think about is how do we prepare our house inside for people to see? But in my opinion, the outside is just as important as the inside. So when you decide to get your house on the market, people are going to see it online and they're going to look at those pictures, and chances are they're going to drive by before they ever decide if they come to see a showing. So you really want the outside to be a wow as much as you want the inside to be that way. So, you know, I talk about the brush underneath the shrubs and just, you know, flower beds and any kind of landscaping that you have. We all have to take that time to clean those out, right? We want those to be as neat and tidy as we do our house. So that type of thing. Of course, you always want to have your, you know, your lawn groomed properly, but don't forget to trim those trees and trim those bushes. I like to think of it as giving them a haircut almost, to, you know, make them look great and presentable. Also, I think sometimes we get, I was at a house recently and they were asking me what they could do, and you know, there were cobwebs around some of the windows and the doors outside, and, you know, especially if there are basement windows, and, you know, just clean that stuff up and you know, make it look really, really great. Those are things people notice. So if there's any marks on the doors, like the door frames and things like that, that just anything to make your, you know, your house look awesome when they drive by and when they come for a showing.
Correct. And the way the real estate industry, especially with the internet, has changed, you know, I always think about it as 20, 30 years ago, the curb appeal was it's really huge. It still is huge, but it was really huge then because you had no look at the house. You would see, you know, you would see maybe the text in the newspaper or something like that. You didn't have any visuals of the house. So the first time they drove up to the house was typically a lot of times the first time they were seeing it. And nowadays, the internet and the pictures are their first glimpse of the home. And so you want to make sure those look really well and pop. But, you know, a little, I guess, tip or secret of the industry is photos are particularly professionally done, or typically professionally done, and so they may make a home look a little bit more appealing than it is in person. So you're trying to get the home as attractive when they pull up to it as it looks online. And so taking that extra time, like Candy was saying, as far as mowing the grass when there's snow out like it is now, trying to get the driveway cleared and the sidewalk cleared, you know, taking the extra time to clean off windows, you know, get rid of those cobwebs, do everything you can on the outside, especially if you're someone who's trying to get top dollar for a home, and or if you have a home that's maybe a little more unique. You don't want anybody to start to have a negative impression or feeling, and they haven't even stepped in the front door yet because they see, you know, there's a door loose, or the garage door doesn't close all the way, or the grass is, you know, a foot long. You know, they're already going to have a negative feeling before they step in the home. So yeah.
Another thing I think about is, you know, even your windows, like your window treatments inside your house, right? People can see those from the outside. And so if you have, you know, blinds that are broken, or just, you know, anything like that, make sure you're kind of looking at that perspective as well. And, you know, make those windows look great from the outside.
Yeah, because right away when the buyers pull up, you know, there's different statistics out there, but, you know, lots of times people feel like buyers will know within a few seconds or minutes of stepping in the home, whether they like the home or not. And I feel like the walk from their vehicle to the home factors into that greatly. You know, how they feel about the property when they walk into the home. And then what does the inside do to match that or offset that? That can help them make that, or that's what factors into them making that decision so quickly.
Absolutely. So, we think about first impression, right? So the outside is really their first impression of, you know, what your home is.